Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome to the new Monday night show. Yes, Gaz Williams here. I am, planning on doing something every Monday night with this setup that's in front of me. This is I guess it's an Arturia Mini Brute and Rack Brute setup. Now, I'm sure many of you who've watched some of my earlier shows will go, yeah, come on, show us something new, because this is more or less something that this particular array of modules I've shown quite a lot over the last few weeks. Well, there is a reason, and I wanted to explain something now. So I have just expanded my setup with essentially another two of these. It's over there. I should have had another camera setup on it, but I haven't had time. So you'll just have to imagine it. But really, these Arturia Rack Brutes, they are super useful. They are some strange legs in the shot. Right. So the keyboard and the modules. So yeah, I'm sure loads of you who will have seen this before will be familiar. There's my friend Chris's legs in the background there. So let's just get some shots on. Okay, so I've shown my modular system as I've been developing it. Now I've got another system, and because of that, it's allowed me to put the subharmonicon back into this rack, and I'm so glad I have, because the subharmonicon is such a joyous thing. It's really been the center of this particular setup. Now, I'll go through the modules that I've got here. Again, I'm sure long-term viewers will be very familiar with this, but there's not a lot of difference really. The most recent module, I think, is this new one down here, which is from IntelliGel, and it's called the Mix-Up. It's just by here. I'm not going to bother refocusing it. It's just a mixer, but the reason that's there is it's essentially helped me plug a particular conundrum that I had with this setup. Now, I'll go over what I've got going on here, and as I mentioned, this is something that I think it's maybe my favorite setup that I've ever had so far in my early stages of this kind of modular adventure. So I thought what I'm going to do now is my other rack is going to be the adventure playground, and this one is going to be a little bit more of the safe ground in a way. It's going to be a little bit more about nice melody and harmony, whereas the other one is going to be more about sound exploration and the great unknown, I suppose. And that's really cool, because I've been able to move out various modules into the other one that fit more in that exploratory zone. And this one, as I mentioned, I'm going to be working more with the subharmonicon again as the central thing. Now, the Moog subharmonicon, released this year, I'm sure many of you know about it, it's a beautiful thing, and I'm still fairly new to it myself, so it's it was way too early to abandon it, but it is a big old rack hog. It takes up a lot of the space here, but I have actually got quite a few HP spare in this particular rack now as well, so there's a teeny weeny space for growth. But I really love the combination, because what I've got going on here is a monosynth with the Arturia Mini Brute, the wonder that is the subharmonicon here, and also nestling in here almost anonymously is the Disting EX from Expert Sleepers. Now, the Disting, this thing here, is the most remarkable little module. I really, really like it. So much so, actually, I've just bought another Disting, a Disting Mark IV. That's just the single one. This is like 2 in 1, I suppose, plus all the Disting EX specials. I've got another one which I've put into the new rack. And the reason that's there is because what a disting is a kind of chameleon. Oh, what chameleon? No, that's not the right word. It can do anything. It could be an oscillator, a filter, it could be a recorder, it could be a pitch quantizer, it could be attenuators of all sorts, it could be a mixer, blah, blah, blah. I was trying to decide on just a single module to go in the new rack to help with a bunch of conundrums, and yeah, that was the clear winner for that role, because it can just fulfill pretty much any task. Hello everyone in the chat room. Oh yeah, wow, nearly 60 people. That's really cool. Nice to see you so far, everybody. Yeah, sorry for those of you who are familiar with it. I'm going over old ground a little bit, but I kind of wanted to document that because the joy I've had with this particular setup. And yes, we will be doing some music, but I think what I'll do is when I'm making some music is I'll start to build up a patch, starting with the subharmonicon, but then I'll explain what's going on with the routing. Now, this is similar to a routing that I've used before, but this new IntelliGel mix-up is allowing me to have just a little bit more expansion opportunities with it. Now, this particular collection of modules is, not the most, how shall we say, oh gosh, I don't know quite what to say, because there's plenty of depth to them. But as I say, the way I'm using it is I'm using the Mini Brute as a kind of lead voice. I'm using the subharmonicon as this thing that it does, this weave. And then with the disting, I've been really enjoying using it as a multi-sample player. But it's also capable of being a looper and like a multi-track recorder, really. So lots of potential. Right, I think it's time. Oops, I just nudged the camera stand there. Apologies. I think it's time that I started getting a sound up, and we'll follow the path along. But I'm going to start by just running the subharmonicon. I have no idea what the patch is, and there's no sub patching going on. I'm just tapping out of there with I'm just coming out of the VCA output of the subharmonicon, and I'm sending clock from the subharmonicon to the effects. So we'll get into that. The output is coming out of the subharmonicon. It's coming out, and then it's coming in to the Doepfer A138S, which is a stereo mixer. And I've got this set up as a kind of mono mixer with an auxiliary send. So the pan I'm using as a send. When it's panned hard left, the output just comes straight out and in to the little output module, the Rosie down the bottom here. But when it's panned to the right, then that signal comes out and then it comes into the mix-up. And then the mix-up then sends that out into clouds, and then out of clouds into the radical, and then out of the radical are the effects. Out of that, I've got that, sorry, coming into the disting. Yes, coming into the disting, and then out of the disting into the Rosie output. Wow, that was thrilling. I'm sorry. So, but basically, that's the setup. I've got a mixer with a send. I'm just going to repatch it, actually. I'm going to put the, I'm going to have the radical going straight into the Rosie. And then I'm going to take the output. I'm going to take the output of the disting, and I'm going to bring that into the mix-up. Okay, like that. That's cool. All right. Yes. Okay. Right. Sorry about this. If anyone's waiting for music, it's taking a long time, but I'm just going to start. I'm going to start something playing now, and then we'll try and make sure we got some sound coming through. Okay. It'll probably be horrible. I have no idea what the settings are doing whatsoever. So we're going to wrestle it into shape now. Let's start that. Let's get it playing. And then just make sure that's all working piece here. Right. That's coming in. 3. It's coming out. Let's just send it fully there, dry. What no sound. Okay, typical. This was making a lovely sound just before I started. I've just done some repatching, haven't I? I've probably been a bit daft. What have I done? Output's coming in. Oops. Okay. What did I say on the last show I was patching? It's a funny one, patching. There's so many little places for it to kind of go wrong. Now, why? Subharmonicon should be making a sound. Oh, there we go. The volume was down. Right. So, let's simplify this. So, the pitch quantizer is fun. If I can go into either even temperament or just temperament, and it's quite fun to go between the different modes. They do have a different musicality to them. Okay, so just 2 oscillators on at the moment. Oscillator and a sub oscillator. Let's bring in a second one now. Okay. Right. Okay, I'm just getting myself set up. It was a little bit of a last minute mission getting all this set up tonight, so I'm just trying to find my place, and then yeah, nice, good to see people tuning in. Yeah, just I'm looking at messages over here, hence me being distracted. Nice to see you all in there. Thanks so much, people, for joining. It's really, really cool. All right, then. So what am I doing tonight, then? So I'm just kind of showing that this module, this rack, shall we say, is almost finished, or for the time being, and I'm going to try and be a good boy in that I'm going to leave it then and then learn how to play it. And then the other rack, I could be switching stuff in and out willy-nilly. This one is going to be more about, just trying to get into learning, being able to make music with it. And then in the future, when we can gig again, I want to be able to go out and play live. And it was a big decision on getting another set of these, because I've got the gig bags for both of them. So have gig bag, can travel. I do want to do live stuff. But I want to kind of get my music, my mojo working. And I feel with this little rig, I can get my head around it. So anyway, what I wanted to do, I wanted to have another crack. I've done this before on an earlier show, but I wanted to have another crack at the radical effects and to do some of the modulating of the scenes. Now, it's a bit of a funny one. It's a quirky one to learn to use, and it is quite easy, if you're not careful, to make a mistake where you can actually lose your settings. I'll talk through that in a moment, but it's a lot to do with the shift button. It's okay. It forces you to be kind of very thoughtful with it, which isn't a bad thing. Let me see. I haven't had time properly to set up these splits, so I'm looking which is a split, if there's one that's of any use. Yeah, we can have a little nose at some of these. None are set up particularly well. Apologies for that. Right then. Okay, so under here you can see I've got a load of cables. I still have not discovered a way yet to have these set up nice and easy. I've seen some friends have beautiful, really, really organized ones. That is still beyond me. I'm still wrestling them out of the big tangled mess. Right. If I have a new rack coming, I need a Bafako Hexa mix and expansion, amazing mixer, switcher, EQ, headphone amp, and 3 effects, sends and returns. Okay, sounds good. Yeah, I think I have clocked that one. Oh, I know. I think I may have got the wrong. When I got the mix up, it was for a very specific dilemma, and I thought I've got extra inputs, so it gives me expansion. But this rack is more or less, I don't know. I should say, it's more or less finished, but I am going to swap a few things around, I think, maybe. But the disting is very much a stereo. It's very much a stereo device. Or, well, it completely can work as a mono device, but there's such a load of cool stereo functionality in there. I wanted to have more stereo options, so the mix-up, that's what it's there for. Okay, I might just set up a little window. Let me reconfigure this. Yeah, let's do this live. Who cares? Right, I'm just gonna split this around. Let's change this. We'll go picture by picture. Yeah, I think that's pretty cool. Let's go with that one. Okay. Right then. So, can't quite see what my fingers are doing. That's cool, because what my fingers are doing is magic with a K. So you'll just have to imagine. Right. Subharmonicon is working. Now, one of the things about the Subharmonicon is it really really wants effects. I think it sounds amazing once you have some effects on it. So we're going to do that, and this whole shebang is set up really for me to maximize my two effects. I'm using clouds as an effect, really. Well, kind of, but I've still not really got the best out of clouds yet. It's something that I haven't looked at. There is the other firmware, the Parasites firmware, that I haven't explored yet in clouds, and but I really enjoy clouds in the way that I'm using it. So let's get the Subharmonicon rocking and a rolling, and then we'll use the pan that I've got set up on the A31S to pan across. Okay, so that's sending all the way there, but let me just turn all effects off and just make sure we've got sound happening. There we're going out of the right channel in. Oh, okay. Yeah, I've got my mute. I've muted channels. That's cool. I've muted it. I think. No. Oh, yes. Just this is the thing. This is all new to me. Out of here. Oh yeah, he's coming out of there. Sorry about this. Bear with me, everyone. I'm just being a little bit stupid. Right. Out of the mix-up, into the clouds, out of the clouds, into the radical, out of the radical, into the rosy. So that's the signal path. And then, why, it's not coming out of the right, panning to the right, it's coming out into here. Oh yeah. There is mute switches, and I have got it muted. So let's bring the level down, flick it in, and then we should hear. Great. Okay. Hurrah! All right. So now we can see. I don't know if you can see on this camera. We're going into clouds now. We can see a signal coming in. Let's just get clouds doing something. Okay, and then that means we can apply effects. And so this is where I'm just getting things. Oh. All right. Here we go, indeed. church bells. Sounds like, oh, the church bells. So my pan now to bring in some of the dry. meditations, aren't they? So when you kind of get stuff, just sort of like a mush of stuff going on. I'm going to come down. I'm just going to stop this for a moment. Oh, where's that coming from? Be quiet, damn you! Where is that? Oh, I see. Yes, freeze. Ah, and there it goes, squiggling off there. So like, just getting into a little bit of a sonic glue. That's really nice. What I want though now is I want to set up the disting. I was trying to do that as we were playing, but I don't know it well enough at the moment to be able to navigate it fluently. But yeah, I've got that coming in here into the mix-up. That's all cool. I'm just going to take out all effects. And let's see and get some sound coming out of the disting. It looks like, I think, 1 and 2. And then I think I can set my outputs. We do have sound. It's very quiet. Let's boost it up. Right. Okay, great. Okay. Now, what parameters have I got regarding gain? Let's have a little look here. Envelope time, blah, blah, blah. Gain. Yes, gain. Okay, so the output of that is pretty quiet. I want to boost that up, so it's a stereo. If I used it in mono, I could get loads more gain, but how to boost the stereo? Okay. These samples that are in the disting. Oh, let's go back to this one a minute. Not that one. Where has it gone? That one. The disting. Oh, sorry, I was covering it. Maybe this view is better for it. Is it this one here? Just hang on. Oh wow. Okay, I'm just checking with the chat room. Let's see people there. Nice. Okay. Great. Thanks everybody. It's lovely to know you there. And right, I won't dwell on the comments too much just yet though. I'm going to come back into this view here. And I'm going to see, and my little dilemma that I've got is how to get a little bit more gain out of the disting. I wonder. It is responding to velocity, but I didn't anticipate this being a problem. So that is maxed up there. Okay, maybe it's about turning, if I'm turning that up, it's about turning everything else down. That makes sense. Let's just turn things down a little. How does that sound? The subharmonicon is such a joyful machine. I mean, there's no patching. It's a very, very, very simple sound. It's got an unmistakable Moog quality, hasn't it? Let's go Sawtooths. Set them all. Oh. I'm going to set them all into the same. I am getting sidetracked. I want to get the disting. Oh, that's what I was testing. So I want to process the sound of the disting. Let's get off the pizzicato strings anyway. That'll probably at least help a little bit with getting some more volume. Folder. So these are using Spitfire Audio's Labs, which I'm sure many of you will have got, and if not, why not? There are some great sounding drums in here that are sampled. Where is it? The Cheetah M6. Where is it? Hang on. Let's just go through them again. They're nice. Somewhere. This is not my fault. Yeah, Cheetah MD16. I need to look into the disting to find out if there's any way to get more output gain. It does seem quiet, doesn't it? Okay. Right. I don't want to do drums. So let's come off drums. And some of these labs are, they are beautiful. I mean, the choir, for instance, yeah. Oh, they're so quiet though. Get some more volume. Okay. Right, sorry about this, guys and girls. I'm just gonna... That's saturation. Let's see what happens if I turn that up. Oh, saturation on or off, I think. A bit more gain, there we go. Right. Now, lurking in this multi-sample part, though, we can actually turn chords on, which is what I'm going to do. Sorry, not a thrilling thing to watch here, but I'm going to go chord enable. Maybe if I do it from here, can you see the disting a little? Oh, not so well. I'll see if I can zoom this a little bit more. No. Can we just about read it multi-sample? Ooh, yikes. I think that's about as good as it's going to get, I'm afraid. Chord enable. Yes. Chord key. D. Chord scale. Natural minor. Oh no, let's make it an interesting one. Ooh, whole tone. Major minor, major, natural minor, dominant, fully diminished, dominant, diminished, augmented, natural minor. Now, chord shape. 1, an octave. 2 octaves. Root and fifth. Root, fifth, and octave. So if I layer these together, so it can be 8 voices in total. Okay, we can work with that. Well, maybe just to look at a few more of the voicings. Triads. So let's just have a... Okay, triad. Triad and octave. 7 with a sus4. Oh no, sorry, just a sus4. Sus6th. 7th. 9ths. Okay, and that's it. So plenty of chords to play around with. So actually, taking it with no third, so it's just a root, a fifth, and an octave, I think will give us more options to play two notes together. As I say, it's only 8 voices in total, so that will use up. So just playing 2 notes will use up all our available polyphony. But interesting harmonies, though, I think. Maybe not interesting enough. Perhaps we need a little bit more spice in there. Let's just go back and change it from a natural minor then, and let's put it fully diminished and see how that affects things. That's kind of classic, isn't it? Okay. Yeah, I think we can work with that. Yeah. Oh yeah, this is great. This is nice drama. So clearly clouds will do something fantastic with this now. Okay. Okay, so I'm just getting this. Let's building this sound up. I'm going to creep in some of the subharmonicon now and see if I can make this kind of weird. If I can make this weird thing work with what the subharmonicon is doing. Let's set the subharmonicon off. Tune some notes up. Slowing it down. Long decays on it so the notes bleed together slower. Okay, it's going to be a bit horrible for a moment until I get this. Okay, I'm going to start again from just a single oscillator for a moment with this and just get this. Oh. Oh, ouch. Okay. Yes. Nightmare ambience, absolutely. Nice when it starts to blend together. It sort of becomes really, it does become a particularly intriguing sound. I'm using some very, very simple tones, but I mean, effects just blur and blend in such a lovely way. It really helps disguise a multitude of sins. Nice to see people out there. Wow, got a good gang. Thank you for joining. Let's have a look what's happening. Okay, I'm going to I'm going to do something in a different flavor now. Okay, so I'm not using a mini brute at the moment in what I've been doing, but having a very, very capable monosynth always at hand is really cool. I do love harmony and chords though. These are really nice, these pairs, these kind of playing just two notes. Let's make camera angles a bit more interesting. Let's get a bit of this in there as well, I think. Oops. Bear with me. See a little bit of hand action. I'll do it like here for now, but yeah, so I got overexposed there. I'm gonna take it. Let's put it back on there. Sorry about this. So people in Britain reeling from a post, like a kind of weird advert posted by the government today. Retrain, with the one with the ballerina. It sends such a terrible message. Such a terrible message to the creative community of Great Britain, you know, essentially encouraging people to retrain. It's a contemptuous ad. It really is quite an awful thing. Anyway, we're here for Modular and we're not talking political, but please, you know, the creative arts, we can't let them go. I mean, it's ridiculous. Anyway, I shall move on. I think just the way that clouds can do such a really cool... What's that now? That's... Hitchcock kind of vibe, a Bernard Herrmann. I just love the way that the clouds, it's more or less a beautiful sound, but the clouds is just adding a little bit of... We'll take the clouds out. We've just got that beautiful sound. good for your if anyone's actually planning and just about to go to sleep. That's a really nice vibe to put into your head. Sorry about that. Nice, but this is me being really using this not too dissimilar to the way I would use synths or VSTs, come to that, but at the same time it still has a kind of pretty unique quality to the sound. Let's go back to the subharmonicon again then. So now, something with the subharmonicon, which a lot of people kind of mention, is that it does its thing. It does its subharmonicon thing. And that is, people say, is it a one-trick pony? And what a trick if it is, But such a lot of it is focused around the way the sequencer works and the way the oscillators work with the sequencer. It's what have I just done? Stop. Right, enough of that. Right, subharmonicon. I'm putting the tempo as slow as it possibly can go. I'm setting both sequence to follow rhythm 1, which is essentially off. I push play. Nothing. So I think maybe does it need some tempo for it to move? Yeah. Okay. Set all of the steps to like a kind of starting point. Okay, yeah, this is cool. Let's just build a little thing like this with the subharmonicon. So I'm going to modulate the subharmonicon's oscillator with an LFO, but the pitch quantizer of the subharmonicon should mean that it'll move things around in some kind of pleasing way. Right, into VCO1. Right, LFO1. Okay. I'm just going to use sine wave. Yeah, you can hear it going through the stepping there. Take some of the reverb down for now. Taking out the clouds, let's just go dry for a moment. Okay, let's get this rate going slow. Freeform. I'm going to make it jump square wave. Let's see what this does now. Oh, we got the range to... Let's just change. This is where I need my Samara then from the other rack. I know I can attenuate with this. Oh, that's quite nice. So up into here now. Let's have a look. doing something a bit more interesting now. Okay, abandoning that for a moment. Quite nice though. Right, I just want to get this tuned up a little bit now. Slower. Right. Okay. Ooh. I'm just winging it, really. What I'm gonna do, I think, in the next, well, I don't know exactly what I'm gonna do, but every Monday night I'm gonna try and set up either this rack or the other rack or both together. Probably one at a time, usually, just so it's not too overwhelming. But yeah, I meant to be a bit more prepared tonight than I am, so apologies for that. Right. Let's just do it. I'm just going to get something just meandering, doing its own little thing here. And the reason for this, I can do some things with some delays. Okay. So, I'm going to turn this delay on here now. I'm going to modulate the delay with a slow modulation that'll take a bar to fully modulate. Okay, let's get a bit more volume. Okay, this will start to... Just going to start to build this. Now I'm going to bring in another delay. I'm going to set up the second delay. Okay. It's a really, really slow modulation. Okay, let's get this doing its thing. So the reason I'm doing this is to sort of do something slightly different with the subharmonicon. Doing it more like a kind of drony thing. But with it still moving is nice though. Bringing in oscillator 2 now. Find a nice little, it's going to go lower. There we go. I'm going to open up some reverb, which I think is just waiting in the wings there, but I think it's necessary, you know, with this kind of thing. Okay. Now, I'm going to change I'm going to come from that that choir that I was using and find a new sound. I love that choir, but we'll find something different to work with. There's a xylophone. That'd be quite nice. That's... quite know what's going on with that. Okay. I'm gonna find a different sound. On the disting, as I'm changing samples, there is a little kind of indicator. I wonder if I can show you that. Oh yeah, you might be able to see it here. So every time it sort of loads in a new sample, you can see this little kind of progress indicator. You can go fast through it, but it's going to try and load stuff in. Still got the chord thing set up here, so I'm going to go. I'll maybe keep the chords on, but I'll change it from that. Okay. Trying to find some sort of pitch center. I'm kind of getting back into that nightmare ambience again. Let me try and sweeten things up a bit. Oh yeah, it's going to set up some modulation on the effects as well. See that nice slow sequence? Pretty cool. I'm going to set the subharmonic on to kind of get a little bit more busy now. Back off the effects a little bit. Clouds is off at the moment. So a little peek into the clouds. Of course, there is a reverb in clouds as well. I tend to not use it because I have it going into the... It's flowing, the sound is flowing straight into the radical, so I'm using the reverb off the radical mostly. Okay, sorry, it's quite gloomy sound now. Oh. Something doesn't like that. Oh, okay. I think I'm losing. I'm losing the battle. The gloom is taking over. Okay, let's back out of this now. Nice. Been getting more into animation over lockdown, so I'm planning on doing some quite abstract animation stuff with this kind of soundtrack. Something that's great though, when you put visuals to music, the synergy and all of the strange, unexpected things that link up with what's going on in the sound with on the screen, and maybe a load of birds fly past just as some modulation flutter happens, and it just keeps happening. And it is one of the lovely things about just how that creative process opens itself up to just lovely chance. Yeah. It's quite nice. There's sort of just a hubbub of activity coming from the subharmonicon there. Let's have the subharmonicon come up a bit now to take over. So back out of the effect land a little bit. Okay. Oh, I'm losing it again. Only a low pass filter in the subharmonicon. High pass would be nice. Yeah. I love this little setup though. I think this got so much potential. I haven't brought in any of this distortion yet. This is great distortion. In fact, I think the mini brute going through that would be really tasty. Okay, let's have a. I'm just gonna have a little. Right. I apologise if anyone's sensitive about such things. I'm going to take a little drink of some beer. It's still pretty cold. For those of you who watch The Magnificent Prognosis, he often, well, I say often, always will introduce from what beer he's drinking. Unfortunately, I'm just drinking from Stella Artois, which was marketed in Britain as being reassuringly expensive. And the advertising campaign, which ran for many years, would be that someone would order Stella Artois at the bar, and then, or at a table, and then the waiter would bring the bill, and he'd see the bill, and he'd fall over backwards. Such was the ridiculous cost of it. But I mean, it's typically one of the cheaper beers in Britain these days. But I think that advertising campaign is stuck in a lot of people's minds. Now, Belgian, but I'm not sure where it's brewed. It's probably brewed. Yes, brewed in the UK. You see, if it was actually proper Belgian beer, I'm sure it would actually be a hell of a lot nicer. I do like Belgian beer. I would say Belgian beer is my favourite beer of all beers, and I like the culture in Belgium as well. There's quite a sophisticated drinking culture in Belgium. It's not like the Welsh drinking culture, which typically is drink as many pints as you can before closing time, and the Welsh belly. Belgian beer. Anyway, I digress. Chimay, or however you say it. Yes, very nice one. What percentage beer is this? It's 4.8. Now that's curious, you see. 4.8. Stella used to be 5, and I think if it was proper imported from Belgium should be 5.2%. But the taxation law in Britain means that you have to pay a lot more tax on alcohol if it's over 5%. So Stella has mysteriously dropped its alcohol content to 4.8%. So any notion that this is in any way traditional is absolute poppycock. It tastes okay though. It's quite nice. This show is not sponsored by Stella, although there is an idea there. Actually, people from I would be sponsored by Stella if you want to consider that. Right. Okay, how are we doing? Yeah. Right, we got a nice lot of people watching. This is lovely. Nice to see you all there. Jim Harris, Analog Rhythm, best drum machine ever made. Now, last week on my Gaz Williams show, which is my Wednesday night show, which is going to happen this week, I'm going to be doing 2 shows a week now, I think. This modular thing that I'm going to do on Monday night. And then Wednesday night show, I can then do whatever I please. So I might do some modular on a Wednesday night, but it is my choice. Still echoing away. This Wednesday, I've got a cracker though. It's going to be like similar to last week's show, but we're going to be focusing on the Analog 4 Mark II from Electron, which is a really terrific synthesizer. I've got 2 here. I've got a Mark I and a Mark II. And I love them both, actually. It wasn't that the Mark II made me just hate the Mark I. And I was thinking of selling the Mark I, but they're just so amazing, functional, flexible synths or drum machines. You know, the Analog 4 is a very capable drum machine, as some people mentioned in the comments. Something that was quite fun, though, is by doing a show like last week's show, Wednesday's show, it stimulates debate, really. People, and I love that, and I love the conversation that's sprouted out from that. Anyway, I'm talking about the Wednesday show, and this is the Monday show, so I shall keep this back on track. Now, as I mentioned earlier, I have got another rack unit, which is going to be more down the experimental angle, and eventually I will be using both together, and I'm really looking forward to that. I think it's going to be cool, but I'm going to try to develop more ideas around this particular setup, and I mean, I can see that with the subharmonicon just is always wanting to take you in a particular route. Now, I could play the subharmonicon from the keyboard of the Mini Brute. In fact, I'm going to do that. So let's just take out effects and whatnot for now. And I'm going to come out of keyboard on here. I'm going to go into my VCO. Let's try VCO 1. And I want to let me just turn mute. Okay, great. Right, okay, let's see what I can do here. So I need a gate signal as well to come out of here. Let's plug one of them in. Yeah. I nearly bought one of those kind of cable tidies for these things the other day, but I just I think I want to make something or come up with some idea to do it. I think there's probably some creative solution. Right, so I'm going to come out the gate here, and I'm going to go into a gate on here. I can find it. In. Oh, I know what I'm going to do. I need a VCA, don't I? No, I don't. I need to go gate. This is going to be sent in a trigger. Let's try trigger. I've used this with MIDI mostly. In fact, I have got MIDI. I could plug the MIDI in. Can I be bothered? Yeah, let's just do that. That's the easiest, quickest way to do it. Let's just switch. So I'm taking the MIDI. Yeah, so the Distinct EX, I've also got this little expansion which gives me MIDI DIN, but that is just MIDI DIN purely for the Distinct EX. So I've been able to play those chords and stuff because of that. So yeah, God, it's getting quite late, but yeah, I hope this is all right. I mean, I'm just winging it really because I was thinking what I'll probably do in future Monday night ones is really focus on a particular module, and that's something I wasn't intending to do tonight. But the module in question, I just didn't get the time to prepare with it. Hence a little late switcheroo. But this is nice at the moment though, because I must admit, since the subharmonicon came out of the rack, I put it back into its casing that it came in, but unfortunately I didn't actually use it for that duration then because of other things that I've been either reviewing or playing around with. So actually having it back in the rack is really, really nice, even if it is rather large. Yeah. Now, one of the reasons I didn't want to get into this malarkey, this Eurorack modular malarkey, is because of the dreaded gas, you know, and especially when you start to crave expensive modules. And I've been finding those really interesting modules around the £500 mark, like the Make Noise Morphogene, for instance. Is such a unique unit. But like £500, oof, you know, it is expensive. Modular is expensive, definitely expensive. But Ben in Elevator Sound, Ben Shelton, was showing me some flipping awesome tricks with the Morphogene the other day. And I was kind of salivating for it. You know, it is it's one of those things. It's a very unique thing. I'm sure you could make a reactor ensemble to achieve the same essential goal with it, but it did strike me as being one of those unique modular processes that you know, I think you could maybe do it, but you wouldn't do it. So modular is the ideal home for some kind of experimental units like that. The Instruo one as well. Oh, I can't remember how to pronounce it. I think are the Instruo ones all in Gaelic, Scottish Gaelic. I'm not sure where they take their naming from. I love the Instruo panels. I was they're another company that's just like, ooh, very interesting indeed. Someone saying, look at the iPad with a polyend poly 2 sequencer using, because the sequences in the iPad are amazing. Yes, yeah, that is good, and that is a very good point, actually. Yes, some of the sequences are incredible in the iPad, and it is easy to overlook just how brilliant those sequences are. The Fugue Machine is a brilliant one with the 4 different sequences, all kind of a little bit like the subharmonicon in a little way. But one of the sequences that's superb on the iPad is forget what it's called now. Oh man, I need to look at my iPad. God, this is a senior moment. I can't remember the name of it. I haven't used it in a few years, to be fair, in any depth. Let me just remind myself. ModStep on the iPad is a ludicrously deep sequencer. It's almost like an Ableton Live in some respects. What's another one that I like though? I'm just having to remind myself. Oh yeah, Genome is another good one. Yeah. And I think the most recent iPad app I've recently bought Patterning 2. I've had Patterning for years. Olympia Noise Company, who make really, really lovely apps with really nice interfaces. Patterning is a drum machine. Fantastic. That uses a kind of rotary display for programming patterns. But I've used that to program my DRM1, and I was all set up to make a video about that once, but something happened and that never came out. So I should revisit that sometime, because that's a really interesting pairing. Because patterning, you can have it so as it completes a lap, the whole thing can rotate. So it'll mean that the pattern will then start from a different step, and then every time it goes round, it rotates, and you can make it rotate in different directions, and each track can all be moving. And yeah, it means that a single pattern will never ever repeat the same, which is very cool. Rosetta, yeah, Rosetta is very cool. Rosetta, there's a bunch of MIDI plugins using the AUV3 MIDI. Loads of cool things. I haven't really had an iPad music session in a while. It's well overdue, so I shall definitely do that as well, because I still am very fond of the iPad as a music machine. I have to say, though, that I bought the iPad Pro 2018 model, and that has been my least favourite iPad that I've ever owned, certainly for music. There was lots of problems in the first year. In fact, a whole year or more had passed of glitching when using audio interfaces. It still isn't great in that respect. But also just high CPU usage I think it took about a year or so, maybe not quite a year, before they could nail what some of the surge in CPU use on it. I think it was just on that one, the 2018 iPad Pro, or maybe, not sure, maybe anything with that CPU. Pesky Clagnuts. Yeah, that was one thing that attracted me to the iPad Pro, was the fact that it had a USB-C output on there, and you can go into a hub and whatnot. But something I talk about a lot over the years is Apple's removal of the headphone jack, especially from the iPad, and the iPad Pro, was just a totally stupid move for musicians anyway. I think that's why I didn't like that iPad really, particularly because to use it in any musical sense involves having to use extra things, clagnuts or adapters or whatever, just for the no latency. I did meet somebody from Apple quite high up, and I repeatedly questioned them, where are the low latency audio drivers, the wireless audio drivers? And he would not say a word about it. So I always felt that was what they did wrong. If they're going to take the headphone jack, take the headphone from us, give us something in place. Musicians, which would have been super low latency, musician friendly wireless audio, but we didn't get it. We just got no headphone jack. So that was just a decision that Apple made, a corporate decision that really didn't have any benefit to musicians whatsoever. Just negative. Oh God, it annoys me. And then everyone follows suit, and other manufacturers start dropping the headphone jack. And yeah, I think it really did. I think it really did make me lose a lot of interest in the platform, because I'm sure some of you who've followed me over the various years on things that I've done, I presented a show with Nick Batt over at Sonic State called Sonic Touch. We did 36 episodes, which was really trying to explore the musical potential of iPads. And there was a time during that show where the innovation was coming out thick and fast. It was really exciting. There was a period of time where I think around 2012 into 2013, maybe 2014, that spread of time where the apps and the innovation was just mind-blowing, and it was really hard to keep up. And sometimes we'd have scheduled to go in to film and to over into Bath to film at Sonic State an episode of Sonic Touch, and that morning something major would come out, and it would literally be changing what we were doing on the day to try and be as responsive as we could to this sort of this changing thing. Sadly, with Sonic Touch, we never managed to get any sponsorship for that show, and I think that was it. After we did it for over a fair few years, but it just wasn't really tenable, really, to carry that on, which is a shame. We do, and well, one time we've been back, and we do occasionally talk about doing something again along those lines, but I don't know that innovation. I think it peaked, I think there's been loads of great stuff that's come out since then. But anyway, this is a digression. Core Gadget. Yeah. There is good stuff. There is really good stuff on there. Just checking in with chat room. Lovely to see you all out there. Okay, so let's do something else now. Let's have a little play. So Eurorack. As I've kind of mentioned earlier, this is not entirely the full Eurorack experience, really. It's it is using semi-modular synths, like the subharmonicon is a semi-modular, but and so is the Mini Brute too. But my other rack, then, that's all about sort of voices. That's about a complete voice without having to patch every single part of the voice together. And the little that I've done of it so far is that's really exciting to me, but I really want to spend more time on it before doing it on a show like today. So that's again a little bit why I wanted to kind of come back to this, bringing the subharmonicon back in and kind of just modifying this rig with this mix up a little bit. Although I would trade out, I think ultimately as a mistake, let me come out with this one a bit. I think I've not got the right mixer on here. I think I could have got a better mixer, a mixer that is the stereo that somehow, I'm using two mixers. I'm using two mixers down the bottom here, Rosie and Mix Up. So the Mix Up is a new one. Although I think I'll probably get quite into this one because there is switches, although sadly there's no CV input for the switches. In fact, there's no CV input at all on the mix-up. It's just, it's just a mixer. But it's cool. It does give me flexibility, and that's important. And really, the mix-up, as I mentioned, was to accommodate more stereo, and that was entirely driven by the Distinct EX, really. And something I didn't get time to do earlier, which I'm kicking myself about now, was one thing I wanted to do tonight was the Distinct EX has had a new firmware update with this Dream machine, this kind of drone oscillator thing. This sounds really, really cool. But also, I think in the previous update, the looper, now the looper for the EX, the Distinct EX, is a really, really excellent looper, and you can have 4 separate loopers all running at the same time. So I'm hoping that I can get a little bit of an RC505 loop adventure going on with this. Unfortunately, that was what my plan today was, to do that, and sadly I ran out of time working on another project. However, that's what I will be doing soon. So yeah, the Distinct, the more I've been exploring the Distinct, the more what's been blowing my mind is just how Oz, who's the guy behind Expert Sleepers, is one of the cleverest people on the planet. He's such a smart guy. each one of these algorithms has enormous depth and potential. I mean, it is a very, very small screen, and I do find I have to move my fingers around so I'm not obscuring the screen for me to see, let alone an audience. And the other Disting, the one I've just bought, the single one, the Disting Mark IV, doesn't even have this little screen. It just has a single, I'm not sure what they call it. Is it dot matrix display? So text is, you can only see it as a single letter at a time. So scrolling, I'm wondering, I haven't looked hard enough for it, but whether anyone's made any nice printable cheat sheets for the Disting. Anyone out there? No, maybe that would, because I might print some out, maybe laminate them as well and have them to hand, just to help with some of the navigation. As I say, there's so much in the Disting. There's so much in it. It's just, it melts my brain a little bit. All right, how are we doing? Yeah, we're doing all right. Yeah, just a question about the COVID shutdowns and what have I done to prepare for the next closure? Will YouTube? No, I mean, gosh, that's a major question. Yeah, I mean, it's terrible, really. COVID, like many people in the creative sector, awful, really. Lost a lot of work and gigs. That's the one. I'm a performer. I love to perform, and not being able to do proper gigs is a real, yeah. But we're all in this together, and let's just hope it won't last too much longer. But something that is increasingly important to me is feeling an international citizen. You know, that's really important to me. You know, we're all in this thing together. So it's quite nice to be able to have things like YouTube, to be able to have a platform just to communicate and just to kind of feel something, you know, even if it's virtual, connect. And, you know, anyway, I again, this is what having a live audience is just lovely. It really is lovely. I feel ever so honored to have you join me. Everyone, thank you so much. It means a lot to me. I'm trying to keep an eye on the chat room, but it does move very quickly. Yeah, looking at getting the subharmonicon, yeah, and a DFAM. I'd like a DFAM. I'm starting to really eye up a DFAM. I think that might be great. The DFAM by Moog, which is a in the same range, which was started by the Moog Mother 32, then the DFAM drummer from another mother. It's a bit of an odd title. I don't really like the title, but everyone calls it DFAM because I think everyone's slightly embarrassed. I mean, Moog have got that recent form of some dodgy names, haven't they? I mean, Fatty was always little fatty, slim fatty. Just seemed just to be a little bit too playful for the devices, really. But I don't know. It's okay. But Subharmonicon, though, that's a very serious name. And but there's 3 in the range now, and I think those 3 together, and hearing people like Lisa Belladonna, who's amazing. She does these performances with. Well, she's got. Oh gosh, she got 9. Has she got like 3 subharmonicas? 3? Oh no, I think she might have 6 Mother 32s. I'm not sure. She got an enormous amount of them. But what in Los Angeles, no, actually in Hollywood, in January, I went to Gold Diggers, which somewhere I've made a little video about. That will come out at some point. But I went to see Lisa perform. Also S from and Chenk from Electron performed that night, and a really, really cool venue there in Hollywood. And it's run by a guy called Dave Trumfio. Dave is a total top dude, and I think once life gets back to normal, that's going to be a monthly synth event there at Gold Diggers, and what a place! Amazing, brilliant PA, brilliant, and seeing Lisa, who was joined by Jason from Moog as well for some numbers, and did some by herself as well, was really fantastic to hear her perform. But about a week or so before that, I think I went to, I was invited to a little private showing near the NAMM event. It wasn't actually at NAMM, it was in a little secret studio. And that was really exciting to see. That's where I first got to my hands on the subharmonicon. And I was sat down with it, given a set of headphones, and just, it just wins you over straight away. It's a really, really cool instrument, but I had to stay completely. I was under NDA on that one, so I was really pleased when it was announced, so I could finally talk about it. But seeing Lisa perform really inspired me. Actually, really, really did, and just. That was really cool, though, and that at that venue, Gold Diggers, hearing it all with such brilliant sound and some great visuals too. I think there was a guy doing some real-time visuals with, I think, a critter and guitar-y. I can't remember which one it is. Not that I can't remember. I had a little go of it as well, which was cool. So he was just jamming along with his video synth to the music going on stage, and that's really cool when that symbiotic relationship of visuals and synthesis all happening together. Really cool. Right, let's do some music. Just having a little. Synthmodes.com has cheat sheets galore. Thank you so much. I'll have a little look at that for once about the disting, because I was going to make one. The Voyager name was a name chosen by the public for Moog. Yes, I remember that. Yes, it was, wasn't it? Wow, when was that? That was nearly 20 years ago. Wow, how things have changed. My goodness. The synth world has just exploded. There's so many things that have happened in the last 10 years, last 5 years. My goodness. Anyway, let's do something. What is the time now? Ooh, I've been on a while, haven't I? We got a vibe happening now. Let's do something now. Right, so subharmonicon, as I say, typically leads you down a certain path, but what a lovely path that is. Let's do something with it. I was going to try and play it with a keyboard. Oh yeah, MIDI, yes. Yeah, let's get in MIDI in. Let me give you a better view of this. Right, let's do this. VCA out. We're going into 3 out. Let's just go dry for the moment. I'm trying to work out why how to get some sound out with a MIDI. MIDI. It should be playing. MIDI. It's receiving MIDI. Oh dear. What am I doing wrong? Here it is. So this is where it's quite funny to play with it from the keyboard. Now, I am going to need a little bit of help here. Does the subharmonicon, is there a way to make it play paraphonically? I can't remember if there is. Okay, I'm going to onto square waves. And I'm going to get some, I'm going to get some modulation going on onto the PWM VCO1. I'll take it from an LFO for now. Now, let's just turn off oscillators 2 and the 3 oscillators from oscillator 2. Okay, square wave. What happened then? I'm not sure what I did. Oh, what am I doing? Is that the... Aha! Here we go. Really hear these different wave shapes of the LFO. Oscillator 2, sorry, LFO2 into oscillator 2 PWM. So we're going to see what happens with two really, different speeds of PWM being modulated. Oh, sorry, a bit loud. Yes. Okay. So I'm going to use the audio rate. I'm going to try and harmonize these now. Let's bring the oscillator up. Right. sound, but it's waiting for effects, isn't it? Now, one of the last things I like on this effects unit. Right, so let's go wet. Here we go. Aha. There is a filter, and I wanted to do a high pass filter, so I'm going to choose a high pass filter for this here. Okay, and now if we go 100% wet, yes, okay, and I can go resonant high pass as well. Nice. Yeah. I'll get this delay working for fast modulation. Now, I'm going to snapshot this with a snap button. So that particular setup of I'm just going to delete. I'm going to just delete. I'm going to delete these. I'm going to delete all of the snapshots. Right. Okay. So there's no snapshots in memory of this thing here now. I'll just get this a bit bigger so we can see a little bit what's going on. Okay. So this effects unit then works on this idea of effects, snapshots, and then being able to interpolate between two different effects setups. So I'll just tweak this. Let's go back into this mode here, and I'm going to get a sound with some effects going here, and then okay, now I can pick one of 8. We can see the LED light is going around 1 of 8. I'll go to 12 o'clock and I'm going to hit the snapshot, and now there's a green light now that remains as the other. So at 12 o'clock that's going to be our sound, so we've saved that now. Now next door, let's just change this, so we'll back the reverb up, but we'll bring in this other effect here. There we go. Now I'm going to snapshot that onto number 1. Okay. Now let's go loads and loads of reverb now. This sound here. Yeah, that's cool. I'm going to snap that into number 3. Okay. So now I'm going to hit this button here, and it's going to take me into snapshot mode. Now, so here I can just warp between those snaps. Oops, I can't see anything in that one. Okay. So what I think I'll do is I'm gonna finish. I'm gonna do all 8 snapshots. So I'm gonna go back into this snapshot edit mode where I can change the settings. It's gonna wet down. I'm just gonna. Okay. Big changes. Snap. Snap. I'm messing up the settings. I'm not being... Snap. I'm going to filter down a little bit on this now. For this snapshot. Snap. And then for the final one, we'll reopen the filter a little bit again. There we go. Snap. Alright, so we're going to snapshot mode now. Right, hang on. Let's get my arm out of the way. Now, we can get this dial modulated. So let's right, I'm going to start it rotating now with the speed control. Can we see that going round now? Yeah, you can see that LED light is starting to cycle. So like when it passes through ones that change the delay time, you can hear the delay time rush. There it goes. Let's slow it down. So those I'm going to do it as slow as I can, but it's still turning. Here we go. I'm just holding a single note down. Ah, yeah. So just that, the animation of the sound of that as it's rotated round. And now it's going through this, the filter opening. Yeah. So that's super cool, isn't it? I mean, really. Oh yeah, I know what I can do. I think I've done this before, but it's definitely worth setting up again. I'm going to come out of the mod output of the mini brood, and I'm going to go into position on here. Excuse me. I'm going to set the speed back to so it's not moving at all. And now with the modulation wheel, do I need to take speed out? No, I don't. Hang on. Yeah. The modulation wheel now on the synthesizer. You can it's interesting the amount of mod that it's letting me do. I think there's a setting, I can't remember how to do this now. It's letting me just kind of morph between two. It's just letting me morph between two settings at the moment, the amount of range. That's quite nice. Actually, if I'm going to use a wheel, I may as well use this dial. That's so cool. But it's because it's so programmable, and you know, I can set all sorts of things to happen. This big old sound coming out of the subharmonicon. Let's get it modulate. I can have it. Let's see how fast this can go. This is going to sound pretty crazy now. want it to go pretty fast. Yeah. I like it going slow. Gonna bring in a little bit of clouds. Oh yeah. Let's get some stereo action coming from clouds. Oh, there goes the camera. It's that time. Okay, this is. I think I've probably subjected you to enough of this kind of sicky noise. It's nice though. Wow. Whoa. Wow. It's doing things, isn't it? Interesting things. Filter control on the mod wheel now. Oh, distortion. Okay. There we go. Well, I'm going to stop pretty soon. I think I've subjected you to enough of this kind of nonsense. Hope you've enjoyed spending some time hanging out. Freeze clouds and use it as an oscillator now. Okay. Thanks, Mike. So let's try that then. Oh, volts per octave. Sorry, wrong place. Here we go. See what's going on here now. I've just set the arpeggiator off on the Arturia. Just gonna start messing. Oh, let's just lock clouds. I think someone mentioned Ligety earlier. Definite Ligeti vibes with this, isn't it? Giorgio Ligeti, where was he from? Is he still with us? I think he might be. Oh, I'm not sure. Is Ligeti still alive? That's doing something cool, isn't it? So... Whoa! Oh my goodness! It's starting to scare me now. Oh. God, those sweeping automated effects is intense. Let's bring some resonance in on the subharmonicon. If we can get something to pierce through this now. Ominous. Wah! Where's my teddy? Okay, it's gonna get. Let's see where we can go with this now. Of course, our LFOs have been really. There's the subharmonicon action being somewhat masked by those modulated PWM. Backing the subharmonicon out of the chaos. Oh. All right, how are we doing? Yeah, I'm gonna sign out, guys. Thank you so much for joining in, for joining me tonight. Hope you've enjoyed it. Please let me know if you think this is okay, because I want to try and do this every Monday night if I can, and I don't know if it's going to be just improvised stuff like I did tonight, or if I'm going to kind of focus on specific modules. I'd imagine it's probably going to be a bit of a mixture of the both, but yeah, I'm going to try, as I say, I'm going to try to do this every Monday, and please join me on Wednesday for some Electron Analog 4 fun. I do have guests lined up for Wednesday, and I've got numerous guests, so I'm just not entirely sure when they're going to join me. So yeah, so if you like the guests, there definitely will be more guests, and you will not believe who's agreed to come on the show. So at some point, some pretty epic people will be joining me for the Gaz Williams show on a Wednesday night. But anyway, as for this, which is now Adventures in Eurorack, and my Monday night show, thank you again. And, well, maybe see you Wednesday or see you next Monday. Thanks a lot. I'm Gaz Williams. Bye bye.